107.5 WGCI, the size number one for hip hop and R&B. We are the morning show. Leon Rogers, Kendra G, myself, Kyle. We are definitely in the studio. We have a guest right now, Chicago.
Legend.
It's a pleasure to have this brother here, man. He has transformed
Icon.
the genre of gospel in music, and he's hanging out with us today.
Got God phone number on speed dial.
That's right. Mr. Kirk Franklin is here with us.
in the building.
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing beautiful, beautiful people, man. It's an honor to be with y'all again, man.
It's good to have
sir.
you back.
No, man, it's an honor, real talk.
Yeah.
And I was being celebrated because I was on time,
Yes.
you know. And I was just, saying, man, it's like, what kind of representation would that be, you know what I'm saying, for y'all to be so kind to let me into your home, your living room, and I show up late, because everybody, from my world don't get this opportunity to come and to be able to have a microphone to a bigger part of culture. So thank y'all for letting me roll through.
Yeah,
But all
Thank you
these
for being
niggas
here.
in here, they couldn't have said
No.
nothing. You could have came in late as you wanted to.
Let's talk about that because, obviously, iHeartMedia is a big company, and you were brought in town to do 1390, rightfully so, Inspiration 90.
But I'm talking about WGCI.
Yeah, I know. So let me
though.
tell you this. And then B103. So I was like, Kirk Franklin's going to be here. Me and Ryan and all of us was like, no, Kirk Franklin can't be in the building and not do WGCI because,
That's
yes,
humbling. That's
we play
humbling,
Cardi
yeah.
B, but people listen to Cardi B, listen to Kirk Franklin too.
And Cardi B's a human being.
Yeah.
She's a human being. But, man, it's just really humbling. Thank y'all because, y'all have a big voice and it's really dope to be a
What
part
I
of
love
that.
about you, man, is you are living proof that God blesses short people.
Listen, let me tell you something. First, he comes to us first, though.
Taller than you, I think.
He comes to us first. No, it's because I got the Prince Hills on. I got
I'm about to get
My
fired
man.
up, man.
Before we go into the new album, can you please, Kyle? Because yesterday we were talking about our top 5 gospel
Yes.
artists,
Oh,
and
wow.
you're on all of our lists. Me, Leon, everybody's list. But Kyle had a special list that I
did.
think you would like.
Top 5 gospel artists of all time. Number 1 on the list, you, my brother, Kirk Franklin.
And tell them who the rest is.
Yes. Number 2, 3, 4, and 5, a random 4 people from God's property. How you like that, man? Round that thing out.
Random.
You pick an alto, soprano, you know what I mean, a baritone. What's the other one?
Hold on, though. What was your top 5?
I had,
you tell them your top 5.
I had, of course, you out the gate, my brother, and then I had beans, greens, potatoes.
Shirley Caesar. Word up.
Caesar. And then I had DMX, Tupac.
Right.
But you had one more. Did you have one more?
I forgot who the last one is. Probably my auntie. But DMX, Tupac.
Okay.
And what was your top 5?
So mine's is Marvin Sapp, you, Kirk Franklin, Smokey Norfolk.
Yeah.
I put Jonathan McReynolds in
Yeah,
there,
man. Yeah.
and then I added Mary.
No cap.
They
No
were
cap.
all gospel, and everybody I said was gospel people.
No cap. Yeah.
Listen, see, this is the debate we have, brother, and maybe you can put in on this. Because a lot of times when you write music, and you write, it's coming from the heart and from the soul.
No cap.
It's the message. So sometimes, even though Kirk Franklin is the messenger, we need to be focused on the message.
Right.
No
Because
cap.
somebody else could get that same inspiration you got and write from the heart and give a message. And I
cap.
said, DMX has done all of the crack he possibly can. And it's still here.
Yeah.
If that ain't a word, so that if you believe you can survive, I don't know what is.
And he's represented God in all of his music from day one.
From day one.
From day one.
See?
Yeah.
And he's had some hitters. Like he's had some bangers like No Cap, just talking about God.
Lord,
And
give
you
me
can-
a sign.
And you can feel him.
See?
And he got enough. He got 15 children. That's his own church right there. So there you have it.
Spreading his seed.
Oh Lord.
I like Kirk
As
Franklin.
Abraham
But when it
did.
yeah. Let's stay focused on how I'm trying to say it, because I don't want to talk. But now my DMX got receipts though.
Yeah, you do. So look, Kirk Franklin is here in Chicago. You have a new project out. You have new music out. The album is called Long Live Love.
Yes, sir.
Why that for the title?
Because just the polarization of culture right now, we just see people continuing to be just separated by different ideologies, lack of empathy. We have become very much a culture to cancel people quickly and to forget that the same people we cancel, we're human, so we're going to make mistakes as well, and we may be also candidates of being canceled ourselves. So we've got to be careful about how you don't give grace, because the same grace you don't give is the same grace you may someday need. And then also just looking at how so many people that even believe the faith that I believe on the other side of the aisle, that may be more maybe more clear-skinned people, and they don't care about the oppressed, and they don't care about the marginalized. But we talk about we serve the same God. It's just this lack of love in society is not going to make us better as human beings, because as human beings, we live and thrive off of being loved.
Yeah.
And so it is hard to love people that are not always lovable when you yourself forget that you have been loved by the creator of love, God himself. So if God loves you when your life stink, if God loves you when your breath stink, that should give you enough ambition in the attempt to try to love people when they're not their most lovable. So that is.
I want to show love to my radio sisters, Beyonce Fox from V103 and Sonia Blakey from 1390, who did an amazing interview with you yesterday. And I think Sonia said how, and I felt it because it's so true. You are the face for gospel music. If people might not know a lot of artists, they know Kirk Franklin. Is that pressure for you?
I don't try to think like that, and nor do I try to live my life like that, and nor do I try to promote myself like that, nor do I think that's necessarily something that somebody should strive to be. Like, my job more than anything is, I think that I'm more of kind of like a servant, kind of like an usher, to usher people in, to show them how big gospel music is. Like Jonathan McReynolds is sick.
From Chicago.
From Chicago,
yes.
And killing the game.
Yeah.
Travis Green is sick. Tasha Cobbs, Smokey Norfolk, Donald Lawrence, who lives in Chicago.
Yeah.
There's just so many. Oh man, Donald Lawrence is a genius, yo. He is a genius, no cap. And so my job is to try to be like the dude that kind of opens up the door to let people know, yo, if you think I'm cool, let me show you some hitters, And so like that's what I think I am more than anything.
Okay.
I'm like an usher.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had this question, because when you watch people do certain things, when you watch LeBron James play basketball, or Michael Jordan play basketball, they make it look easy. And when people see you do what you do, you make it look easy. And to me, as a man, you make being a man of God look easy. But how do you preach the message of it's going to be tough, it's going to be struggle? Because you've had your trials and tribulations, but
Still
you fought
do.
through and walked away from the church at one time.
Yeah.
I read then your friend got shot. And you came back.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to one of the young guys, how do you express to them that being a man of God is not an easy task? Because you make it look easy, bro.
Wow.
Like, when we look at you, it's like, man, I don't even want to say nothing crazy around Kirk. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy.
And I really try to shrink just that image, just because I think as Christians, we have not done the best job of showing the humanity of who we are. Like, we're broken people. Like, I got a sister in prison right now, you know what I mean? It's like I got, family members that have mental disorders, and I've got, a father who died last year that I didn't even know that I hated. As a Christian, like, no cap, I hated. Oh boy, and he's dying of cancer, but then I got to get on a plane and be what I know God is calling me to be. So, is I live in the rough. I think the unfortunate thing about our new generation is that IG makes everybody pretty and makes everybody a boss and make life look like super mad easy. And so we got to be careful with the lie of the gram. You know what I'm saying? Just because the gram does not give you the unfiltered version of life, it gives you the filtered version of everything, from hair to makeup to booty to blessings. It's like it makes you think that everything walks with a filter, but life don't live with a filter. We live in filtered lives, and so that's what's so ill about God, is that God meets you in your mess and loves you through it.
I wanted to ask you about bridging the gap. You know what I mean? That's something that you've done throughout your career. But can you talk about bridging the gap for people who do have a faith, do have a belief in God, but aren't necessarily churchgoers?
Got it.
You know what I mean? And how do you relate to those people, or what do you say to those people that feel maybe ostracized sometimes because they might not show up in church every week?
Super dope question. Yeah. Super dope. And I think that there has been a lot of dysfunction in a lot of our churches, where the emphasis is more on the offerings and who's in front, and we celebrate the man instead of the man, and so the first thing we got to do is, I think that people don't realize that a simple apology goes a long way when it comes to people's hearts. And so for me, it's like, I'm sorry for a lot of the ugliness or the ignorance that has happened in the faith community that has caused a lot of people to say, you know what, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's very important to do that, because people need to know that they are valued. And when you apologize to people and let them know, you know, we dropped some balls on the community, you know, it's been more crack houses right around church houses, and people ain't been seeing it get better, you know, and that's like real talk right there, you know. And so the second thing is that there will never be a perfect church, because there'll never be perfect people. And at the same time, the church is a hospital. It's a hospital for sick people. And if you go into a hospital that's clean and ain't nobody in there sick, the hospital's going to close because it's built for sick people. And I think that if we can get people to see that it's a broken organization that has a God that is perfect, but we're not perfect, and it's our job to let people know there are beds for everybody, and everybody can have a bed. And so maybe if we start that type of narrative to let them know it ain't about being perfect, it's just about being that know that you're not alone. Because the church is supposed to be the place where you ain't got to walk through life alone. You know what I'm saying? You got a drug problem, you got a whatever problem, you got depression, you happy, you broke, come to the body. You know what I'm saying? Come to the family. And that's what's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a family. But we all know we got crazy uncles. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got that nasty auntie. You know what I'm saying? You know, she 50, but she always want the young, you know, nephew sit on her lap, and hey, sit on Aunt Teresa lap. You know, she nasty. You know what I'm saying?
She got a little mustache.
Yeah, she got a little mustache, got a little beard. You know what I'm saying?
Make
you know,
green bean casserole.
Right, breath smell like Hennessy.
Yeah.
Early in the morning.
All that.
Early in the morning, breath smell like Hennessy. You know, why's your breath smell like Hennessy early in the morning? You know, and so we just gotta let people know, but come as you are, because there's enough hospital beds for everybody.
I like that you said that, because I think that is one of the reasons why the new generation doesn't go to church, because they feel like it's so judgmental.
Yeah.
Like you can't wear, like we talked about women being banished, like bashed for what clothing they wear to church.
Yeah.
Then you know,
I'm sorry about that, man.
I do think the church has been more open to homosexuality than it has been in many years. Like I don't really feel they're still shaming gay people in church. At least I don't feel that way.
We never should have been shaming anyone in church.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is that it should be a safe place for anyone, because there's room at the cross for everybody. Man, Jesus died for everybody, man. He died for everybody, no cap. And I'm not talking about the white Jesus that look like Barry Gibb that y'all got up in y'all's house, look like one of the Bee Gees. I ain't talking about that.
Caesar Borgia.
Yeah. I ain't talking about that, you know, that has no historical, accuracy at all. I'm talking about my man died for everybody, so there's room for everybody, so let's go get it.
It's hard to get past some of that image, though, when we see the stories that came out, like in recent years, about the pastors that use millions of dollars to buy private jets and cars and all of that. For
and
their
I
lives.
post about that kind of stuff. I don't know if any of y'all know, man, but I come at it.
You mentioned that yesterday. You mentioned that
I come at it,
every
man.
word doesn't have to come with a tithe. Can you elaborate with that?
Yeah. Just because I think that like I noticed that sometimes if the guy, that if God give me a little some kind of dope that I spit, somebody like, you know what? I'm gonna get my offering to you, and I'll be like, no, I don't know. Why do you think that you got to give money every time somebody says something good from God? It's like now God is an ATM. And we don't want to, we need to change that narrative, because God don't need your money. God wants your heart. Keep your loot.
Well, with that being said, though, you have some people, like I look at some of my aunts and stuff, who really put everything, and they ball everything up, their spirituality and everything, into the faith of one man that leads the church. Yeah. So how do we get out of that narrative? Because I always say, they're men at the end of the day, and they're going to fall and have trials and tribulations. Why can't you just walk on faith? So what role does the pastor play in that? As far as keeping that narrative down.
And I also believe that if you look at our culture, even in the broader lens, we as a people sometimes, unfortunately, have always been that way. Look at how sometimes we we were like that even with the kings of Africa. You know what I'm saying? We were like that even with our political leaders sometimes here in America, that we followed some of our African-American leaders, and we know that they was caught in scandals, but still voted for them and support them over and over and over again. We are very quick to, unfortunately, sometimes build idols out of people. And that's why the people that in leadership have to be sensitive to that. People in leadership have to be sensitive to know that I know that I am part of a culture and community that it's easy for the people to want to find hope in an individual. So I've got to keep that minimized. So what you do is you don't have 17 bodyguards and you only got 5 members of your church. You know what I'm saying? You don't drive a $300,000 car and your church is in the middle of the trap. So you got to be sensitive to where you are. No cap. And mind you, I'm not trying to bash things, but what I am trying to say is that if people see you more than they see God, you are failing the people. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that, but I'm a person that doesn't mind mega churches. I don't mind pastors who, if I feel as though poured into my heart, and if they're living a lavish lifestyle, because I'll just use an artist like a Cardi B who's making millions of dollars right now, and I like Cardi B, but I'm not sure if she does anything for me spiritually. So if I go to a church and I feel like this pastor is feeding into me spiritually, I'm okay with him living as lavish as a Cardi B.
And this I'm the opposite. I'm
the opposite too.
Yeah. And this conversation is not against mega churches.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There are incredible churches. There are incredible pastors. I'm talking about the things that we know that are very visible, the narrative that we know that people have when it comes to organized religion. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the general consensus that it looks about money and materialism, because we know that, meaning that, okay, so you got 3 dudes in here, right?
Right.
And these dudes can tell you that if we go out with a young lady and we meet a young lady who comes from a physical or sexual abuse past relationship, we have to be more sensitive in how we approach that young lady, because we know that we're about to date a young lady who
has issues.
Who has some damage.
Right.
Or let's say she got kids. You know what I'm saying? We got to be, as men, we come to that knowing that we've got to be sensitive because of what we know was there before we got there. Correct, brother?
Certain things that can trigger her and
Exactly.
spiral.
So because of that, if we know that people have been abused by certain churches making money the issue, where the man is bigger than the message, because of that, as Christians, when we talk about trying to evangelize, because remember his conversation or his question was, what do you say to people that are turned off by the church?
Right.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're talking those kind of people, you got to be sensitive to the climate that they've come from. We have to apologize that you're right. There are churches that do too much. You're right. There are preachers that do too much. Bro, you do too much, bro.
Right.
And that's just, you know what I'm saying? That's just no cap.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we've got to be sensitive that there are people that have not seen Christ because they've seen man and what he has more than the message.
And
Fair
I
enough.
always felt like that was contradictory to the message of God. Like,
Period.
if God is about
I
love and
agree
about
with you.
people, why am I being, blinded by your Rolex
Gotcha.
watch?
Or
in
I
the sun?
can't.
You know what I mean?
Or
Like,
I
what does that
can't-
got to do with it?
I can't watch you pull off in a Bentley and it's 7 or 8 people about to get evicted out their homes.
Right.
and their
Yeah,
parents.
that's just-
and not
right.
because they're irresponsible with money. It's just that things happen. And I was
Socioeconomic,
always-
yeah. That's a community that, and see, I agree with these brothers, man. To whom, Scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
And so when you have been given much, you got to be wise with that. You know what? Ain't nothing wrong having a Rolex, but maybe you don't get the one that's totally iced out. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
it simple.
Yeah,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Maybe if you want to have, a nice whip, maybe you get a whip that fits the community
The
that you
demo.
live in.
Right.
Yeah. that
Get
fits
your
the-
Dodge Challenger,
Yeah.
Charger, something that
or get your Benz. What's
Yeah.
wrong? But you ain't got to get the, you ain't got to get the
$400,000
You ain't got to get the Bugatti.
Spur.
You ain't got to get the Bugatti.
Spur.
Right, no question.
Yeah.
We got to go to the album, but before we go to the album, I just want to talk to you real
I
quick
love
about
these conversations, though, man.
Yeah.
Super dope.
about your father. You mentioned it earlier throughout the conversation. How it's crazy to hear that Kirk Franklin didn't forgive. But can you give us some backstory on that? Did you guys have no relationship before he
I
passed?
was adopted.
You were
I was
adopted.
legally adopted when I was 4 by a 64-year-old woman. And unfortunately, y'all know how it goes in the hood. Sometimes, but like other races of people, sometimes adoption, those kids don't know their parents. Like most of the times, like when white kids are adopted, or, just other races, they don't always know their biological parents. So when they find out that they're adopted, they get a chance to choose, okay, when I get adult, maybe I want to go find out who my biological is. But unfortunately, sometimes in our community, you'll have a grandmama raising a child or somebody adopting a kid, and you'll still from time to time see your biological parent.
Right.
And so then what happens is that you go, that's why so many of us have PTSD as people of color, black and brown people, because we have so many traumatic things that reoccur in our lives. So you can be like me, I was legally adopted, but then I've got a biological mother or father who maybe once every 4 years or once every 5 years you see them or you hear them, but they don't really come through, they're not really there. So you live with this thing of, why am I not good enough to be with you? Right. So it's like I saw my father once when I was 6. When his daddy died, he came and got me, took me to the funeral, got me a haircut. I didn't see him again until I was 13. And when I saw him when I was 13, he had his girlfriend with him and he really spent no time with me. I didn't see old boy again until I was 26 years old, had an album out. And then now he won backstage passes to my concert. He comes backstage to try to bum rush the backstage with his other kids and says, there's your brother. Y'all go say hi to your brother. I don't know him. I don't know them. Right. And now I'm trying not to cuss. Because I'm like,
right, you don't want to be the bad guy, but I don't know everybody.
I don't know you. I don't know these little snot-nosed kids. Who are they and who are you?
Still having them.
Right.
Yo, that's what I'm trying to say. Right. So, as I saw him then, and then, he could feel my energy, right? And then I didn't see him again until like another 5-6 years. He tried to show up at a concert again. It's like, bruh, I'm telling you, this is a problem, And so I didn't see him again until I get this call. It's like I got an anonymous call saying that I'm your biological father's ex-wife. I just wanted you to know, but that I'm reaching out to all of his biological kids, letting them know that he's dying.
So did you make peace before he passed away?
I made the peace that I could because I did get on a plane. I did go down to see him. I shared some. Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, but I did it because I knew that's what God would want me to do, and I knew it would be the right thing to do, and I knew it would be the right thing to model. As a matter of fact, I even said to my kids, your biological grandfather's dying. I'm going to go see him. Do you want to go with me? And they were like, no.
Right.
They were like, no, because we don't like what he did to you.
Right.
So, it's like, okay.
But do you think... of course, I'm not saying I wish he's not in your life, but maybe him not being in your life made you Kirk Franklin who you are today.
And I totally believe that all things do work together for the good of them. Love the Lord, Romans 8:20. I totally dig that. It does not mean, though, that I still have not had to live with the limp.
Right.
But I've also seen God take the limp and write songs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Songs like Imagine Me. And,
Yes.
Yeah. So, God can take crumbs and make a meal, but it does not mean that you still don't live sometimes with the residue of what that is.
Absolutely.
Kirk Franklin, the household of Kirk Franklin, right? I know as a father, sometimes I get mad when you got your mouth set for something, you coming home from work and you be like, man, I'm going to go drink the last of this Mountain Dew in here. I've been saving it all day.
Bro.
But when you got kids, nothing is safe.
Nothing.
You can't, and then if you hide it, you're a bad parent because I hide food from my kids because I want it.
Yeah.
So, and Kirk Franklin's house, when you come in and just say like you got a favorite snack like Doritos.
This is going down. I got to go for y'all.
And you come in and the bag is rolled down to the size of a joint. They done trifle and put it back up in there. Does Kirk Franklin lose it sometimes? Like, look here, y'all. Look, and does your choir come out and back you up as you singing and yelling at the kids?
Well, let me tell you what's even worse. And my man to my right can feel my pain because we kind of suffer from the same vertical deficiency.
Talk to him, Kermit.
The problem also is when your kids can wear your clothes.
I'm not there though, because my son is only 9.
No, man. When I come home and my sneaks are gone, or when I come home and my sneaks got like some dirt on the bottom of them, I've been on the road, and I come home and like my sweater is a little,
stretched out,
or musty because you're 18 and your deodorant you forgot to put it on, and it's like, and so
they're gonna make you stop.
Who had on my Balenciaga?
That's my problem in my house because they think that my gear is fresh, but I'm like, but yo,
that's my stuff.
That's my stuff, yo. So that's the problem is that when your kids can rock your clothes.
Man,
I know we gotta go, but we gotta
$3,000
bring it to the album just real quick because you're singing on this album.
You're sweet. First of all, thank you for showing me love about my new album. Like this is mad sweet of you.
No, because the whole thing we're having a deep conversation, but I want everybody to know to go get the album because that is what's most important right
really
now, and it will really bless your
you.
life. I was running to it yesterday, and you singing the song "Forever Beautiful Grace" because everybody say Kirk Franklin don't sing, but when you get the album, you gonna hear Kirk Franklin singing.
No way. Wait, DJ Khaled don't
sang a
rap.
few-
Kirk Franklin don't sing.
Is I've sung a few times on different records. I mean, like I ain't the, woo woo, kind of dude, but is I do what I do when I try to do what it is, whatever I've done.
I see what you did
What do
there.
you
I did that.
We need an album with you and Khaled in it.
That's funny.
That would be hilarious.
Speaking of the music, Love Theory is a single
Yes.
that you dropped Friday this past 31st, man, and that's what's out
No,
right
that's
now.
the album. The album came out this past Friday, Long Live Love.
Oh,
Yes.
right, but the song Love Theory is out a single as well,
Love
right?
Theory's out, and man, it's getting love, and I'm very grateful. And yeah, man, go listen to the album, and I hope you enjoy it. And
Favorite is my favorite, and okay is my favorite song off the album. Chicago, get the album. You need it in your life.
Y'all
Yeah,
look
it
to
is.
that new single me and Kirk got coming out called Jesus Be a Sieve. Strain out all my problems.
What is a sieve?
A sieve, that's the thing you put in there, it go in the sink, and it keep all the meat
That's
from
what
going
that's
down
called.
the drain. A sieve.
I don't know if it's really called
Jesus
that.
Be a Sieve.
I did not know that's what
I
that's
didn't know it was
called.
called
You
either.
didn't
It's
know
called
that?
a sieve.
Oh, okay.
That's what's up.
Okay.
What y'all call it, a meat catcher?
No,
that's
the
a-
drain. The drain.
Yeah, the
thing.
drain.
The
The
drain.
drain.
No, the drain
Drain
is the
thing.
pipe.
Yeah.
It's called the
The
drain
drain
thing.
thing.
See, black people. It's called a sieve.
Hey, Chicago, listen, man. Check out the
Yes.
new album, Long Live Love. Give it up for my brother in hype,
Yeah,
Kirk
man.
Franklin.
Hey, Kirk
in the
Franklin.
building. We appreciate you
Always
being here.
a treat when players
Yes.
meet.
Listen, man, when a gospel artist comes through and says no cap as many times as Kirk does, you know it's
You know
real.
it's real.
No sieve.
Appreciate you being here, bro.
Salute.